Good morning, how are we? Do not let this glorious sunshine deceive you. There has been some rain this week and it is getting to the point where it is beyond a joke. You can't even go by the weather forecast because no matter what the weather forecast says, it's going to rain anyway. Anyway, we're up bright and early this morning. We are just over at the AD plant. Adam is feeding it and doing a couple of jobs just over here. So I thought we would just bring you along with us and show you the crack and what all happens over here. So you'll have seen over here plenty of times before. It's actually been quite a while since we actually done a wee video over here. Come on. But we have had actually quite a few questions coming in just about it, and probably there's a lot more interest in them at the minute because the planning application process has actually opened up for them again in the south of Ireland. So in the grand scheme of things, this one that we have here is quite small compared to some of the ones that are getting planning now in the south. This is a 500 kilowatt plant, and it's not ours, we don't own it, but we run it for a company called Assured Energy. We've been doing that now for probably, I think 7 years, maybe 6-7 years. So yeah, we are responsible for just the day-to-day feeding of it, the day-to-day kind of general maintenance and everything else, and then obviously then we cut all the silage and all that kind of stuff. So like I said before, this AD plant is probably a wee bit unique in that it isn't fed any waste at all. There's an awful lot of AD plants out there that are designed to kind of deal with a lot of waste, such as slurry, such as like things like cooking oil, for example, waste of vegetables, all that kind of stuff. But no, this one that we have here is specifically fed on forage. So everything you see in these pits has been specifically grown for feeding of the AD plant. The last time you would have seen these pits, they were rammed. There was ale walls coming up here, and you can see from like first and second cut last year there has been quite a lot used. So that is why we really pay a lot of attention anyway whenever we're cutting silage for the farm. But the AD plant is really important because if you do have a wet cut of grass or any sort of a fluctuation in the quality of the feed that's going into, you do pay for it. They're just like a big concrete cow. What you feed into it, you see coming back out of it, and if it's not fed the best of the best, you definitely do feel the repercussions. So obviously the better quality of the inputs, the better quality of the outputs. So just like milking the cows, the AD plant is fed every single morning before we go and do whatever else that we do. It is probably one of the first things that has to be done daily. But usually because there's so many of us, Adam will spend a lot of time doing it, but whenever he is away at slurry and stuff, a couple of the workmen will do it as well. And then she has to be checked, just kind of either on the cameras or else somebody actually being here a couple of times through the day, just to make sure that she's feeding okay and everything else is grand. that is our feeder, or the Vilfras. This is tank 1, and then this is tank 2. So there is big augers in there, which feed the silage down into here. This here is a mixing arm, so that is what is breaking up the silage and mixing the tanks. And this here is the separator, so basically what that is doing, that is pulling any solids that is left in the digestate out, and then it is just leaving the liquid, which makes it an awful lot easier for us to spread back on the fields. We will actually still use this here, so we will put that there through a dung spreader and put that on the fields as well. It just makes everything a lot easier, because whenever we're dribbling barn fields, obviously any sort of lumps and stuff isn't ideal, and more debris free we can get the slurry, then the better obviously it is at going through her, and the better that we can get on. So basically, once the silage or whatever it is that is being fed into the main tank there, tank 1, it is heated up to somewhere in around 52-53 degrees, and then there's 2 mixing points on it there as well, so it's mixing it, and with the mixing and the heating up, that is what is, I suppose, generating the gas. If you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, you might have seen that I shared a couple of stories there the other day. Carbon AMS put them up, they doing a bit of silage sampling, and just basically testing just to see how much goodness was in the pits. So it's always really important, I suppose, to kind of keep on top of that, so you know, kind of, so you can forecast, I suppose, what is coming next. If you know that you're going to run into a dodgy bit in your silo, I suppose you need to be aware of that, so you can kind of be able to compensate it with something else to try and keep the energy generation up. So just to give you an idea, we would feed usually anywhere from about 28 to 35 tonne of forage per day, depending on what pit we're using, where we're at in the pit, the quality of the stuff that's in the pit at that time, and basically the better quality that it is, the less we have to use. So it's a good way of kind of monitoring and forecasting where you're going to be kind of going forward, because if you know, say for example, that you are going to be feeding a bit more than normal, you know, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you can actually kind of organize yourself a bit better, and it's a good way to know as well where you're going to be, if you're going to have enough forage to kind of see out that full year until we get back to first cut again, which will not be very long. So you will see here, this is quite a high pit, but there you are, you have maize there at the top, you've third cut there, which went in quite wet, and then you have everything else. We grow a lot of maize actually ourselves for our cows at home, maize, whole crop, and then silage as well, but it's a really good high energy source, and the AD plant goes really well on it. It's probably something that we are very glad that we actually went into. So I've said to you before, maize is kind of was very popular for a while, and then kind of died off a wee bit, and then definitely in the past 4 or 5 years maize has started to get very popular again, probably with the increased cost and meal and everything else. More and more farmers are kind of looking outside the box into ways of grow and feed themselves, especially if they have ground, that they can, I suppose, become a bit more self-sufficient and stop having such a heavy reliance on the middleman. I suppose at this stage we're just waiting patiently on getting ground into a bit of a better way of going, so we can actually start thinking about this year's crop of maize. So between the farm here at home and then the AD plant here, we would grow actually quite a lot. And then as well as that, we would plant a lot and grow a lot for a lot of our customers. So basically what the process is, if you're interested in planting maize, we go back to Shines themselves and we say, look, you know, such and such wants to plant maize. Gordon Shine himself travels the country, and he will actually come out and meet you, and he will go around the fields that you're thinking about planting maize in. He will do soil samples, he'll take them back to the lab, analyse them, and then he'll come back and then he'll be able to advise what variety of maize would grow best according to your ground type. So it's something that has actually worked really, really, really well for us over the past number of years. And it doesn't just stop there. So basically once we know what each farmer has to get, the farms will be delivered their seed and everything else that they need, and then we plant it, and then Gordon will come back up every couple of months just to see how it is doing, how it's growing, if there's anything else that it needs, but 9 times out of 10 it's usually a thumbs up and saying, yeah, we're happy. So to be fair, we would be lost without that kind of backup from Shane Agri, because maize is not a cheap commodity to grow. It does take a bit of money. It is an investment. I have maize in my eye and it's really sore. So that has actually worked really, really well for us the past couple of years. So much so that we have actually a third planter on its way. I think it speaks for itself, just kind of how big a demand there is on maize. I would say is, if you are interested in growing maize and if you do have any questions, honestly just feel free to give any of our boys a shout, because we can honestly speak from both the contractor's point of view and the farmer using it obviously as a feed. And to be fair, now we've been doing it now long enough. We've seen excellent years weather-wise, and we've seen years that have not been so good. So I think it's probably fair to say we have a decent enough feel of it. But no, if you do have any questions or you are interested in planting it this year, give me a shout, give any of the boys a shout, and we will be more than happy to send you in the right direction or tell you who to talk to. He has treated me to a new, I don't know what the hell this thing is, what the right word for it is. Yeah, so he's using it here to clean out these gullies. These gullies, as you can see, get a lot of, I don't know what that is, mixture of silage and muck falling into them. And obviously we need to make sure that we keep these clear so that the water can run freely into the drain. So he is spoiling me and has given me an actual device, because usually you get the phone call to go over it and do it and you're just basically told to use your hands. So goodness me, he is really spoiling me today. Yeah, anyway, so I was talking about maize. That is something that is coming this year. So it is actually another 6-row planter that we have. So that'll be a 4-row, and then that's 2 6-row planters that we are going to have. So yeah, that's, I suppose, just testament to, you know, how well maize is actually kind of doing for us as contractors. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. Don't know when she's coming, but at the minute we are looking forward to the ground finally drying up and being able to get ploughs back out to start getting ground ready, to start thinking about maize. Really, we should be probably starting to think along them lines definitely in March. Definitely, you know, we would like to have ploughs out at the minute if ground allowed, but ground just will not allow. So Adam is the professional around these parts. He literally lives and breathes AD plants. He totally just lives for them, loves all the information and all the detail and all that kind of stuff. He's super competitive as well. Yeah, so he is going to take over from me now.
So just whenever I'm doing my daily checks, kinda, and boys, and myself, we'll just take a wee look here. So it's kind of like the pump room as such. So this is where the P2.1, so the slurry goes from the primary to the secondary. It's very warm in here. And then the P3.1, that feeds to the separator up at the top. She kind of comes on and off as the level of the separator rises and drops. And then we also have our heating system. There's 3 systems. So the first system is around the engine. The water runs around the engine and sends it to the second system, which brings the hot water down to here. It goes through the third system, which is on the hot water gets pumped from here into the tanks, which keeps the liquid warm, or the digestate warm for the bugs to work. So at the minute I just kind of take a check, and it comes in here roughly around 80, nearly 90 degrees. Nearly 90 degrees, and when it comes back out round the system, so it comes back into this is the primary tank. It goes on here at about 82 degrees, and then when it comes back out again, it's coming back out around 60 degrees. So a lot of heat generated from the engines, but we use that then to heat the digestate to keep the bugs happy. So it works out quite well. So I kind of check it through, make sure everything works, and then I come back outside then. It's a very hot wee room there, to be fair. So when we go up there then, this is our primary. So this is where the feeder, straight on the auger, straight into our primary. So then, I can show you this. So you can see the bubbling. I think you can see the bubbling. I hope you can see the bubbling. That's the gas coming up through. And as you can see, there's a good surface on it. You know, it's frothy. There's no crust in there occurring. So that looks to be pretty good. So then after the primary, then you have the secondary, which you'll see, which is a longer breakdown period, which will be a lot more liquid. That's us in there. So it is a longer breakdown sequence, which means there's a lot more. And then after that period comes through, it goes straight up onto the separator, which is here. So really it goes on like that, comes out like that. We have it dried down there to about 35% dry matter, so it's the digestate liquid is pretty watery. It's quite hardy. It's great for pipe systems and spreading and whatnot, but with no material on it, it's quite hard to get to sit in the spot, you know. So as you can see, the bio lines, the gas, biomethane, if that wasn't in there, they would be flat. But it shows you whenever you can see the both bio lines up at a nice height there, it means that they're not too high, that we're making excessive gas, but yet we're not too low that the engines are starving. So at the minute we're keeping there to the happy medium. That's really down to with matter of what you feed, the quality and the power of the stuff and what you feed. So at the minute, normally this keeps in good work then for 435. That's kind of her duties. We feed the plant every single day. Either myself or the couple of guys that is great from the yard. If I'm away, X, Y, and Z, they'll come over and jump on her and do what they do. We have a out yard with a pit. We draw it down and tip it down the pit, so we use the bucket to throw it in, and then the rest is all dug out with or cut out with a shear grab. We kind of like to keep a clean face, so yeah, that's all set.